I'm Anna Pochisato. I am a PhD student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. My research focuses on the intersection of identity, food, and justice. And my dissertation research within that focuses on just transitions in animal agriculture. So I'm also a research assistant on the Grassland 2.0 project, which is a USDA-funded project focusing very much on those same issues of creating an agroecological transformation in the Midwest towards more perennially based animal agriculture. And so for the last year, I've been partnering with Regenerative Agriculture Alliance to learn more about regenerative poultry producers and amplify their stories. I've been interviewing them and learning about their farms and learning about the barriers that they face, the opportunities that they are excited to explore. And so my work and my partnership with RAA is really focused around amplifying those stories and supporting this alternative system that is really coming together here in Southeast Minnesota.
My name is Dane McKittrick. I'm with Clean River Partners, which is a watershed conservation organization based out of Northfield, Minnesota. I'm the conservation program assistant, so I help with research, with farmer outreach, and with a variety of other tasks dedicated to agricultural conservation of water quality and soils as well. So we are partnering with RAA as of recently more and more to build the regenerative poultry ecosystem, to link them to funding opportunities for internships and for field days. We're going to help them manage some on-farm and off-farm educational events to attract producers to the regenerative poultry system and build awareness of regenerative agriculture within the context of southeastern Minnesota and beyond. And our role in this, again, is to just help them develop these programs, but also link them to organizations outside of their scope as a Regenerative Agriculture Alliance as of now. So linking them to other nonprofits, soil and water conservation districts in the area, researchers for water and soil protection, and helping them build their network and achieve their mission on a larger scale.
Yeah, so what are the plans for this summer with RAA?
This summer, we're going to hire 2 interns, one full-time on-farm intern and one communications intern, to help promote the ecosystem, help it become more familiar amongst the community of southeastern Minnesota. And then the on-farm intern will help physically build the farm and develop the poultry production, help grow the perennial crops, whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. So we'll help with the administration of that and help it just develop as a program. And hopefully this is just the first year of many in that internship program, and Clean River Partners will continue to promote, develop, and learn from that experience. And then we also intend to host a number of field days that are educational events at Salvatierra Farm and other farms within the network to teach people about the nuts and bolts of regenerative poultry production. We'll also host educational guest lecturers to teach about very specific topics within the regenerative farming ecosystem, and have a number of just discussion days and events that will be intended to just better educate the public and especially the farming community about regenerative agriculture, and both on a large, big, holistic understanding of what is regenerative agriculture and what is regenerative poultry, and very specific components of that system, such as growing hazelnuts, growing elderberries, growing chickens themselves, growing forage, really the all the ins and outs of those specifics. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's really exciting, and I think it's also really great to hear, because when I was interviewing farmers last summer, something that I heard a lot was, for some of them it was their first time growing chickens, and so they really had quite the learning curve. And, RAA provided technical assistance with Wilbur going out to the farms and doing the training at the beginning of the season as well. And that was really great. But something that they brought up a lot was just how much kind of more assistance and hands-on field days and hands-on help from other folks they wanted and needed. Mm-hmm. So I think what you're planning to do is really, really needed.
Mm-hmm. And there is some risk with transitioning from especially conventional ag to regenerative ag about how this system is different. Will it work? How will it work? What do I need to know? And the way a lot of producers within the agricultural community learn is by seeing it in person on farms like their own. So especially the educational field days will be critical for that, in showing them that this can work, and here's some people to teach you how to make it work and how to transfer what they're doing on their farms to your farm and be successful as a small farm business and as a steward of the land. And with the internships, that'll be effective at teaching young people, the next generation of farmers, how to upkeep a regenerative poultry system and to learn from it and learn things that we haven't even thought of before and take it as an educational experience.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really sort of regenerative for the farmers too, to be able to share everything that they have been doing with youth or with other farmers who might also be doing regenerative poultry, but farmers who are doing also conventional, and be able to kind of share their experiences. And a lot of them are most of them, all of them are really, really passionate about the work that they're doing. And so I know it's really a pleasure for them to talk about that and be able to share it.
Mm-hmm. And the interactions that happen at these events, at these field days, don't just stop with the field days. The farmers are encouraged to continue contacting the hosts, the people they met, the other farmers they met at the field days, people in the larger ecosystem, because we don't just advertise these field days to farmers, we advertise them to consumers, to business people, to producers, everyone within that system. So this is a fantastic opportunity to meet people outside of their specific niche of that ecosystem, mm-hmm. and get to know the whole operation in some way.
Yeah, because that's what it's going to take, is people from all walks of life, people from all industries to come together and understand what regenerative agriculture is about, what regenerative poultry is, and be able to contribute with their skills, because it's really about the whole system. It's not just about what's happening on the farm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I think the other thing that you said too about youth is really important. That's something that I think is really top of mind for everybody right now, is like the next generation of farmers and how we foster that next generation.
Mm-hmm. And this will be advertising these internships to local community colleges and local universities within southeastern Minnesota. But as different home farms take on different internships, they can expand to colleges within their geographical distribution. So a farmer in central Wisconsin can advertise internships to all sorts of students within the university system of Wisconsin. And they can adapt the education needed to their specific environment, to their specific community needs, and really grow and become a successful educational program.
Yeah. And then, maybe more young people will be interested in farming or other parts of the regenerative system.
Mm-hmm. And as more and more land turns over from a largely aging farmer population, we're going to need those new young minds in agriculture more and more. So opportunities like internships, like apprenticeships maybe in the future, that can directly teach young and interested people about hands-on farming skills is critical to the development of any farming system, especially any farming system that has relatively radical new ideas and interesting ways of thinking about agriculture.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because I think after, such a long time of monocropping corn and soy and increased concentration in agriculture and consolidation, there's a lot of folks out there that have been totally disconnected to the land over the last couple of generations, have been really disconnected to farming. And there's really need to create spaces in order for them to see, that there is a different way to farm as well. And I hear that a lot from farmers too, is just like how much there is a need to have a broader societal conversation about what food means to people and what it looks like to grow good food.
And to do that in a way that's economically feasible and scalable is something that, again, is scary to a lot of conventional farmers when they hear about this ecosystem. So the more resources and ways of assisting them on that transition or on that introduction into agriculture entirely, the easier it's going to be and the more successful they're going to be. And the more people we enlist in the system and the larger it grows as a community, the easier it's going to be for new people to enter and older people to transition. So
yeah, and especially because there's a lot of folks in conventional ag also are not making much money, and the profit margins are really limited. And it seems, there's also other things like there's so many health issues as well from the way that we've been growing food, the way that we, produce so much food that is just empty calories with a lot of, just sugar and things that are really terrible for you. And I think a lot of communities are really struggling with the health effects of that and thinking about what are the ways, what can we do to address those health issues. And it really comes down to the land and land management and growing our food in a totally different way.
Yeah. And in terms of the responsibility that each farmer has on their land, there's just so much more freedom within a regenerative poultry system, because you're not limited to growing just your traditional alternatives of corn and soy and then buying the chemicals to support them from the same handful of companies. You're really free to decide what you grow, how you can grow it. You can lay out your land in a way that's suitable to your needs and your lifestyle that you want, what you want to produce in terms of what you want to feed your family. And there's just so much choice from the farmer's perspective in this system compared to conventional, and that in its own will be a reward for greater quality of life towards farmers.
Yeah, and bringing people back to rural communities and creating, like you're saying, new supply chains, right? Because, at RAA, we talk a lot about poultry and regenerative poultry, and that's definitely the starting point. But there's also, all of these other crops and animals that farmers are also interested in growing, and that are also, really crucial to the system, and to be able to provide for the needs of local communities, to provide for all of those diverse, healthy foods that people need.
And the more things the more diverse you can build a farm and a plot of land, like you said, the more opportunities that in turn begates. So you can have whole industries spin off of each component within each farming system. You can have oil processors for nut crops. You can have the poultry processors, obviously, but you can also export forage as a winter grazing supplement. You can do so many things once you start diversifying the landscape, and that's going to be a boon for rural communities and a boon for people who are entrepreneurs that see all this agricultural potential that is, for lack of a better way, wasted in a monocrop system, where only large companies that are set up for this monocrop can take advantage of them. With a small, diverse system, you can have more diverse ways of making a living. And that's fantastic for people who want different lives, for people who want something that they're not finding in today's agricultural system, which I know there's a lot of.
Yeah, there's a lot of exploitation, and there's a lot of extraction of land and resources, but extraction of people's labor, and that yields really terrible quality of life. And so everything you're saying is too, I think that's the vision, or the idea for the future is really creating healthy and positive and opportunities for people to have just a dignified life, quality of life,
and live on dignified land. So,
yeah, absolutely. And also, I think one more thing too, with the diversity on the farm is how that increases resilience. And we saw during the COVID-19 pandemic how much that is important, because with the monocropping that we have right now and corporatized food system, we learned that those supply chains are actually very, very fragile. And in this system, in the future with diversified farms and all of these different supply chains, you have more resilience. Exactly.
And you also have greater climate resilience and also greater resilience to farmer incomes, in terms of you are now producing more than one commodity crop. You have different markets that you can access and derive income from. If one market goes bust, or you experience a drastic price shift, you're not completely out of luck. You have other fallback options for income. And this perennialization of the landscape is of course, more resistant to these extreme weather events that we're predicted to see more of in the future. The reliance on perennial shrubs and perennial forages is going to make your soil more resilient, keep more nutrients in the soil, to
increase water quality,
increase water infiltration for communities that depend on aquifers and ground or above ground water sources as well, and just retain the soil on your farm, retain the value that you derive your income from, which all stems from soil health and soil quality. So
it's a really big vision, and there's definitely a lot of components, but it's very exciting, and I think it's definitely what we need to be working towards.
Yeah, and we're excited to be a part of it, and look forward to where it goes in the future.
Yeah, definitely.